it speaks volumes about how Dogtown just transcends everything. Like there aren't, you know, like Dogtown's moving out of Venice and going to San Francisco. Sure, of course, why not? You know, like that's totally acceptable. Dogtown can do whatever it wants.
That name is so solid that you could bring it to Northern California and that it still had a stamp on it because that fucking name was strong, dude, right? That packs a punch.
Dogtown out of San Francisco.
Yeah, a lot of people had problems with that. It didn't make sense to them, but there's a geographic element to it, but the effect, the attitude, the imagery, the style that comes with it is basically worldwide. And I think I met most of the guys at events. Like for sure, Cardial, I vividly remember that one. We had a guy named Wingding who was an Embarcadero guy, Mike Cow. He was unbelievable. There was another guy that gets no credit that's probably one of the best pool riders I've ever seen in my life. Just true style, speed and flow. Is a guy named Royce Nelson. Unbelievable pool skater. There was JJ Rogers.
Yes.
So there was the San Jose element, there was the East Bay element, and then there was the city element. And that's
the Danville boys, fucking
Ray Dillon,
and fucking and Wade were fucking so fucking good.
Question right here, bud. Number 7. It's okay. It's okay if it's going. Is it going? The funny thing is I got sponsored by Dogtown, but I never knew the whole history of Dogtown and how, you know, their legacy that they had prior to me even joining the team.
Somewhere in the mid to late 90s, somebody decided to hold a contest in Marseille, France.
What do you remember about Marseille, France winning at the competition?
Well, what I remember is I was on tour and we were traveling all around, and we had heard there's this new skate park that's on the beach, and we were sitting at me and Jake. It was really hot. We were sitting down on the beach one day, sitting in the water, and he looked at me and he says, "You know what, Wade?" He goes, "I think you're gonna take it." He goes, "You just gotta do what you know, and you just give it to him. You just do what you do, and that's it. It's done."
The first handful of Marseille contests that were held were fucking really down and dirty skateboard, like classic, you know, skateboard contests, you know, for like the fucking history books. There's this handful of guys that have that feather in their cap that can say like that they won the early Marseille contest. And Wade is one of those dudes. Like the dude just, no way. Fucking the Hitman.
My favorite cover ever, Wade Burns Europe.
Even that they would put him on the cover and say Wade Burns Europe. Like this is how fucking badass this dude was. Can you talk about like when you first saw Schroeder or met, like?
Schroeder was just a whole different animal.
Someone who had been easy. The King brother, what a giant! But he's just like the front guy, just.
I want to say one of the first skate nerds I knew, you know, because he basically that's all he did was he skated. He was a really smart guy that just concentrated on skateboarding.
Yeah, you know, him turning pro, Lance doing his graphic, like that board was, his board was fucking awesome.
So, Dogtown said, "Do you want to ride for Dogtown?" And I said, "Fucking no." Yeah.
Oh,
so,
for sure.
And then Lance drew my graphic. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Then Lance drew my graphic. Dogtown graphic.
We found some lost archive artwork of Michael Seif. I thought all of his artwork was lost. I just found this. This is an old Streets of Venice graphic. This was called the Venice Skater graphic for Suicidal Tendencies. Looks like that this was your black outline. You can see he added a little white shadowing, a little bit of airbrush right there. But most of this is all hand drawn. So this would have been blue, but would have been entrapped by this black right here. That would be your black outline. Okay, there's a color on it. It says yellow. This is obviously the background color. This says red. You got the diving board, got more perimeter of the pool, coping blocks flying through the air. This doesn't have a color on it. Could you imagine being a designer today and have to do this to make one graphic? Ha! Venice Skater, Streets of Venice, graphic, Suicidal Tendencies. And I would watch him do this, and it blew me away then, it still blows me away now.
Fucking DT captures everything that skateboarding is and should be. Like, just the fucking gnarliness of it. Like, the fucking suit up, show up, and let everybody know you were there. You know, like you said, fucking when the Dogtown guys rolled in, like, the atmosphere fully changed. Like I think that's the best thing that can be said about Dogtown, period. It's like, holy shit, the Dogtown guys are here. How'd the Dogtown logo come about?
Well, the first one was Craig Stessick spray painted on the wall. And he did a photo shoot of Nathan Pratt dressed up as a cholo. I'm sure the first stylized version of that came off the walls of East LA. In East LA, down by the train station, there's a Hispanic gang called Dogtown. But if you ask those guys, no one's going to give you the straight answer.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the good stories was it was south of Hogtown, which was the Pacific Palisades, all the rich fat cats.
Yeah.
It was east of Smogtown, which is LA, and north of Bogtown, which is Marina del Rey, because it used to be a marsh. And it was Dogtown because everyone would come down to the beach in Santa Monica and Venice and bring their kids, their dogs, and their trash, go to the beach for the weekend, and then they would pick up everything except for the trash.
And split.
And then split.
Yeah.
And so they just, dogged the town out.
Yeah.
What? How? What? Huh? You're confused, you're alone, it's Saturday night, you have no pants on? Click here to watch more Love Letters to Skateboarding.